Several months ago, I rearranged my quilting studio so I could install a design wall, and so finally got around to it. And today we finished installing it, and it's really very easy. If you want to learn how I do it, I'm going to tell you, so stay tuned. So here's the design wall, and you can't really see the whole thing, but it's 2 sheets of 4x8 insulation, so that's pretty big. It was kind of difficult to get it home because if you put it in the truck, it wants to fly out, and so we managed to put it in the car with the lift gate kind of tied down. So if you don't have a way or a truck or a person to help you transport a 4x8 sheet of insulation, then ask them at the hardware store to cut it in half. Then you're dealing with 2 4x4 pieces, and hopefully that will fit in your car or a friend's car who has a bigger car. Instead of covering one big sheet, you're going to be covering 2 small sheets, and you're going to butt them together on the wall when you put them together. Now this is a little sample that I had of what I had to cut out of the insulation. So it's like 1/2 inch thick, I guess, insulation. Then it has these papers on both sides. I guess it's reflective papers. So one side is going to have the marking or the brand on it, and the other side will have no markings on it. So that's going to be important because when I first covered it, I put the flannel on this side and I could see all of the markings through. So I had to redo the flannel. So when you are covering your 4x8 sheets or your sheets of insulation, make sure that the side that's going with the fabric on it is the side with no markings on it. This is the design wall I just finished putting up in my studio, and it is 2 sheets of 4x8 foot insulation, and you can see at the bottom I cut out a little piece for the electrical outlets. To make your design wall, you'll need your insulation, your piece of insulation. You'll need shipping tape or duct tape to tape down the flannel. You'll need straight pins, and you'll need some flannel. You use the flannel because it has that fluffy side, and sometimes there's fluffy on both sides, but you're going to use the fluffy side out, and that helps add friction when you put fabric on it, so it stays up there a little bit better. Now let's see how much fabric we need, how much flannel we need. And it turns out that we can use the same amount of flannel for 1 4x8 sheet as we do for 2 4x4 sheets. And I'll show you why. So if we take 48 inches by 96 inches, which is 4x8 sheet, and we want to have a lot of wiggle room because it's a big piece to have to deal with. So I want to add 6 inches all the way around. So that would be add 12 total inches to the width and 12 total inches to the length, which gives us 60 by 108. 60 inches is about 1 2/3 yard. And if you have 1 2/3 yard of wide flannel, then you can cover 1 4x8 sheet. And you can take that same 60 inches by 108 inches and you can cover your 2 4x4s. And what you're going to do is just cut it in half again, but instead of having an overlap of 6 inches all the way around, you're going to have an overlap of 3 inches all the way around. A 4x4 sheet is easier to work with, so you don't need as much fudge room. So if you're going to cover a 4x8 or 2 4x4s, get 1 2/3 yards of 108 inch wide flannel. When you have your flannel, you're going to press out all the creases and make sure it's pretty. And you're going to take, I'm going to cover this this little sample that I had to cut out for my electrical outlets, and it measures 9 by 11. So I'm going to add 3 inches to all the sides, and I came up with this piece of fabric. And this is my flannel. If you're putting this on your kitchen, your dining room table is what I used. You put the fluffy side down, if there's only one fluffy side, and you kind of center it. And this is the insulation, and you can see this has the branding on this side and there's nothing on this side. I pulled off the other reflective coating on here because it made a mess of the camera. So the brand side goes up because we don't want to see that. And here is how you're going to start covering it. You fold this over, and right now we're just going to try to make this as even as we can. And we're going to place pins on the side, as many or as little as you need to go all the way across. Then you'll go to the other side here and try to push this a little bit to make it just not tight, but just try to get all the wrinkles out from the back. And then fold this over and put your pins in here. The reason we put the pins in this way is so you don't scratch the table. Because if you put the pins in down here and you're moving this around the table, which you will do, you'll scratch the table. Now you're going to go on the other side, and these corners you can do two ways. You can simply fold them up like this and put your pins in. I'll do both ways. And we'll turn this one around. Or you can make nice little corners like this and fold those up. And it really doesn't matter, it's just personal preference for you. Then we put the pins in the side here. What we're going for is just a nice flat side on the front so we don't have any creases in it. Now we're going to take our shipping tape, and I'm going to show you in a smaller scale. So I take a piece, and so you have a long piece of this. So if you take your piece of tape and you press it slightly on this part, on the fabric, you can pull it up just a little bit like this. Oops. You can pull it up like that. And so that makes it just a little bit taut. And do the same thing on the sides. Just press it toward on the fabric and then pull it. And then that pulls it up and makes it all nice and flat. So press and pull. And do that all the way around. Press and pull. And here's these sides here. Press and pull. Press and pull. Now remember, you're doing 4 feet, 8 feet, however it is. So just pull out as much or as little tape as you can work with. And then once you're finished with all the tape, you just pull these out. And then you turn it over and you have a nice flat surface. To hang it up, I've seen people that they put these big binder clips on here, the biggest ones, and then they just put a nail or two in the wall and they can hang it up. The little hooks on the binder clips just hook right over the nails. What we do here is we just put drywall screws all the way through the 4 corners, and if it seems to be bowing in the middle, you can put some screws in the middle too. And if you have 2 of them, just butt the next one right up to it. And that's how you make a design wall.